Hi guys, it's Sophie. So today I'm going to be doing my July book haul for you. There are an absolute ton of books I have to show you. I'm going to try and split them out a little bit if I can, just to make it a little bit easier viewing for those of you who are interested in some kinds of books but not others. It's really non-fiction heavy this month, so for you, those of you who really enjoy the non-fiction side, a little bit of a treat I suppose from that. Okay, so I'm going to start with the non-fiction, and the first sort of subset in non-fiction is the sort of medical non-fiction, because if you've been watching over the last few months, I've been picking up a few bits of medical non-fiction. I read The Incurable Maladies, I read Better, and I really enjoyed them. I thought they were really great fun, so I've been just diving a little bit more. So the first one I have is It's All in Your Head by Suzanne. This one is talking about the experience of patients who have physical symptoms that can't be explained by any kind of medical testing, so they have unexplained symptoms. And the woman who wrote this book is a neurologist, and she's talking about how often in those cases those people are suffering from psychosomatic symptoms. And it's about how we talk about psychosomatic illness and how it's perceived by both the patient and other medical practitioners, that there's this image of sort of time wasting or sort of trying to grab benefits or anything of that ilk, and she's talking about it from quite a sympathetic point of view. I have read this one already and I did enjoy it, but I'll talk about it a bit more in my wrap up for you. And then the next one I have is Atul Gawande's Complications. So I read Better by the same author a couple months ago and really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting. It was matching that sort of performance management side of medicine with the sort of technical issues that you have in being a doctor and particularly in being a surgeon. And his books are they're just gorgeous, they're so pretty, and it was such an easy read. Better was such an easy read, so I thought I'd try Complications and see what I think. I'll be interested to see how the two books differ, because the blurb on the back of Complications sounds very similar to the kind of things broached in Better, so we'll see whether or not he has the ability to sort of split things out and consider things in different manners, or whether it is just kind of more of the same. Even if it is, I don't mind, because the book itself is gorgeous. And then the next one I have is the last of the medical non-fictions, and this one's got a mix. It's called Bad Faith, and it is by Paul A. Offit. So this is talking about the impact that religion has on medicine, and for me that's such a cool topic. That you probably don't know, but I'm an atheist. I used to be quite Christian when I grew up, but didn't sort of carry that on into my adulthood. And one of the things I find really intriguing is how some elements of faith can potentially be damaging or life-threatening to people who are within that faith, and how they hold on to their faith. I don't know how much is going to be explored in this book, but I've had my eye on it for a while and just really wanted to have a go. It's only little as well, so should be quite a quick, easy read. Okay, and then next I have some political non-fiction. So the first one was very much inspired by Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. She spoke about Owen Jones in one of her videos. I think it was in sort of her YouTuber recommends, and I went out and I watched some of his videos and absolutely love his content. I think he's a brilliant journalist. So I went and sought out one of his books. I got Chav, The Demonisation of the Working Class, and this is really interesting to me. I'm about halfway through so far and I'm finding it really eye-opening. For me personally, given my background, it's talking about things I haven't ever really considered before, and I absolutely love it when non-fiction can do that and can change your mind and change your opinion. So absolutely loving this so far. I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it through to the end. Obviously I'll report back in my wrap up for you. And then, as you know, I have sort of been exploring a little bit more of the politics in the Middle East, because I sort of realised I didn't know all that much. Have started diving in and have found that I'm just completely and utterly intrigued. So I've got a few books on that topic. So I read Woman at Point Zero by Nawalid Sadawi, and in that video where I spoke about that book, I was recommended Superman is an Arab by Joumana Haddad. And I've had it on my wish list since that time, but just thought I'd be interested in picking it up. It's such a cool cover, isn't it? Like, that's awesome. And it's speaking very similar to Black Macho about how negative stereotypes of race and gender play together in the Middle East to make this sort of really poisonous mixture for the women who are living in that location. So this is super interesting to me, because obviously it's combining all the things I love, but it's also hopefully going to give me a sort of modern perspective of what Black Macho tried to do for the writing of the time in the sort of 60s, 70s. So I will certainly tell you what I think of this one. She has another book which I think is kind of a precursor to this one, which I might check out if I find some interesting thoughts in here. And then the next one I have is The Morning They Came For Us, Dispatches from Syria by Janine Di Giovanni. And this one is really quite a new release. I think it came out either June or potentially even July. And this is a book that is dealing with the conflict in Syria, but from a really personal point of view. So the individual who wrote the book, Janine, is a war correspondent and so has a fair amount of experience dealing with those kind of situations, and it's about her connecting with the people who are in the conflict and trying to really understand what it is actually like on the ground. I think I'll find this really interesting because, as I say, I've been trying to find more voices from individuals who aren't necessarily just from the Western point of view, although it's still a Western, lens, but we'll see what I think of this one. I'm really excited to see how it goes. And then the next one I have is Trials on Death Row in Pakistan by Isabel Buchanan. This one isn't out yet. This is out on the 28th of July, so if you are interested then you can go fetch it. It's published by Jonathan Cape, who are kind enough to send me a review copy, and this book is exactly how it sort of sounds. It's an individual who worked as a lawyer in the UK, I think in Scotland, who went away and sort of working with people who were on death row in Pakistan, and about sort of how many human rights violations go on in that kind of imprisonment, and also speaking out about death row in general. You guys know from previous videos that I am very much against the death penalty and have done stuff with Amnesty to try and stop the death penalty in the United States, as well as writing to prisoners on death row. So this is an absolutely intriguing book for me, and obviously I'll let you know what I think once I've had a read. And then the next couple aren't the same kind of books that we've been talking about, but I think they kind of fit in nicely with what we've just spoken about, so I'll put them in here. So for those of you who watched my currently reading video, and a few of you sort of noticed, I write out the words that I don't know when I come across them in books, and because of the kind of things I've been reading recently, a few of those words have been Arabic words, and I've found in doing that I actually really am quite enjoying learning about the language. It's very different to the kind of Latinate languages that I learnt in school, so Spanish, French, Latin itself, and it's a little bit more like sort of the ancient Greek translation that we did in classics, in that you have to sort of translate it twice, and it's a bit more like a puzzle. So I've had a great time with it, so I thought what I would do is sort of give myself a little bit of a challenge. I picked up an Arabic phrase book and dictionary. It's only a little tiny weeny one because I don't yet know how interested I'm going to be in it, sort of longer term, so I just thought I'd get something relatively cheap. But I want to try and learn a few sort of key phrases and just some base level conversational Arabic, and it will give me the chance to write it out, which is what I really enjoy, so I'll see how I get on with that one. And then potentially more usefully, I just picked up an Arabic to English, English to Arabic dictionary, because I have been finding that I am really struggling looking things up through Google when I'm finding them in the books. I don't know the letters very well yet, and it's really hard just trying to put everything in together, and I just thought, do you know what, this will be far easier than it will be me fighting with Google Translate every time I want to get through a word, so we'll see. I think I might collect a few foreign language dictionaries, just because the kind of books I'm reading at the moment tend to have sort of sections that are either entirely in a different language or just a few words in a different language, and it's such a hassle to be using Google Translate, and it'd be nice to have a few sort of staples that I can pick from. And I also just picked up a little notebook to write my stuff in. I haven't had a chance to start yet because work's been mad, but I liked it a lot. It says Daydreamer on it, and it's a nice little pink shade. It was only like £2.50 from Sainsbury's, so if you are in need of a good notebook, they're doing really cheap, pretty things at the moment. Okay, and that is the non-fiction side out of the way, so on to fiction, etc. And the first one I have to show you is a collection of short stories called I Am Executioner by Rajesh Parameswaran. I probably completely butchered that name, so either be kind to me in the comments or let me know how I'm supposed to say it properly. But this is a collection of short stories based around sort of Indian folklore and Indian culture, and just sounded really intriguing to me. The sort of main story that the cover's based on, I just had to buy it when I read about it, but it's the story of a Bengal tiger falling in love, and him trying to explain his feelings, and I just thought that sounded brilliant and really odd, sort of magical almost, so I'll see how I get on with these ones. And the next one you will have already seen if you watched my currently reading video, and that is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I'm buddy reading this one from Philippa from the Garden of Reading. If you haven't checked out her channel, please do so, it's great. I'll link it up above for you. I'm 200 pages into this one now, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm very much excited to be able to wrap it up for you guys and chat about it in more detail, but I'm not going to bore you with it right now. And I have another Cormac McCarthy to show you. That one is Out of Dark. I'm just picking them up as I go along. Whenever I see one that's kind of cheap, I will grab it. This one is one that I nearly grabbed first because it was the one that seemed really, really dark and twisted and intriguing to me. And it's about a woman who gives birth to a baby and essentially leaves it in the woods to die, and tells I think her husband, the partner, that is died of natural causes. When he finds out that the baby's been left, he thinks it might still be alive and goes on this sort of quest to find his son. So that's sort of a broad overview. I don't know all as much about this one, to be honest, so I will have to report back later, but it just seemed really cool to me. Although it is ugly, this is the ugliest of all of these covers, but I wanted them all to match, so we have to cope with it. And the next book I was kindly sent by Chavs and Windus, and this one isn't out yet. This is Judas by Amos Oz. This is a proof copy, but the actual book will come out on the 16th of September 2016, so if you're interested, it's not too long to wait. This one is something completely different again, and I'm loving all the kind of different stories I'm getting at the moment. But this story is talking about a young boy who is drawn in by this mysterious message left on a notice board, and it's for an old man who's seeking companionship. But when he goes to this house, he realises the old man isn't alone. There's this strange younger woman there who is sort of obsessed with these ghosts from her past. And he starts to evolve a romantic attachment to her and a sort of almost, I guess, fraternal, paternal children. What would be the children one? I don't know. Fraternal's brother, paternal's father. Someone tell me. Anyway, so he starts to develop this relationship with the older man, and sort of begins to form his identity, his growing up, his coming of age around these two odd individuals. So it's kind of a love story, kind of a growing up story, and it's all set in Israel, which I've never read anything that's been translated from Hebrew before, so I'm so excited to be able to have a chance to do that. And the book sort of speaks about the conflict as well, and sort of the mix mash of the sort of Arab heritage and the Christian heritage and all of the interesting political things that happen in that place, so it just kind of sounds like a little bit of a dream to me as a book. We will see what I think once I've had a chance to read it, though I think I'll probably review it a bit closer to the time. And then I have one poetry collection to show you, and that is Prelude to Bruise by Saeed Jones, and this I don't know all that much about other than it has really, really high ratings on Goodreads, and I know the author writes for BuzzFeed's LGBT section, and that was kind of intriguing enough. I think I read a snippet of one of the poems on the Goodreads as well and just thought that sounded intriguing, so I'll have to just tell you more about this one in time. I never really know how to show you poetry hauls. And then the very last one I have to show you is a graphic novel, and that is The Arrival by Sean Tan. I've heard so much about this one, and so many people have said how brilliant they thought it was. This is a graphic novel without any kind of words. It's all told in pictures, and it's a story of immigration, and the artwork is absolutely stunning. If you haven't had the chance to see it already, it is just gorgeous, isn't it? And I'd seen it in, whose channel did I see it on? So on Amanda Center's channel most recently, and I finally gave in and just bought it. So there you are. So hopefully you've enjoyed this really, really, really long July book haul, and you've seen some stuff that you're interested in. If you have read any of them and enjoyed them, please let me know in the comments down below. If you've read any and you think they're all rubbish, maybe tell me, but try and do it gently. But yeah, I'll see you soon in my next video. Not sure what it's going to be yet, I'm afraid. Bye bye. It's the characters that irritates me when they can't have consistent characters, because that's so important.